from morning until night. Ishan, Shamsundar, and others were working every possible hour on the renovation. And every day, Prabhupada would walk through the building to see the progress. With only 1 week left until the opening, Shamsundar still labored on the temple ceiling. He had not even begun the altar. Again, the other devotees complained to Prabhupada that Shamsundar was too slow. But Prabhupada replied, he wants to make it artistic. Let him do it. Shamsundar this time on his own asked George for a donation for an altar. George gave 2,000 pounds and Shamsundar picked out a slab of golden Sina marble and 2 slabs of red marble. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. It's in process. So word for word, word for word also.
We follow regular slide.
There's a normal as per temple. Yenaha vavakalo manoja pasada deva maya mohita swavidi niyoga suchacharitra vihina deva helanani apavretani nija nije chaya granana asnana chammana sucha klesono Nadini Kalina Dharma Bahuleno Pahata Diyo Brahma Brahmana Yagna Purusha Loka Vedu Saka Vayena Bhavisyanti. Word for word. Yena, by which pseudo-religious system. Bhava, certainly. Kalo, in this age of Kali. Manuja apasadaha, the most condemned men. Deva maya mohitaha, bewildered by the external energy or illusionary energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Swavriti niyoga, socha charitra vihinaha, without character, cleanliness, and the rules and regulations given according to one's own duty in life. Deva helanani, negligent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Apavratani, impious vows. Nija nija ichaya, by their own desires. Grananaha, accepting. Asnana, anachamala, anachamana, asochak, pesha, vulunchana, adini. Concocted religious principles such as no bathing, no washing of the mouth, being unclean, and plucking out the hair. Kalina, by the age of Kali. Adharma, bahulena, with an abundance of a religion. Upahata, dhiyaha, whose pure consciousness is destroyed. Brahma Brahmana, Yagna Purusha, Loka Vidur Shakaha. Blasphemous towards the Vedas, the strict Brahmanas, religious ceremonies such as sacrifice, and towards the personality of Godhead and the devotees. Prayena, almost entirely. Bhavishyanti, will become. So translation and purport. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, says Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. People who are lowest among men and bewildered by the illusionary energy of the Supreme Lord will give up the original Varnashram Dharma and its rules and regulations. They will abandon bathing 3 times daily and worshipping the Lord. Abandoning cleanliness and neglecting the Supreme Lord, they will accept nonsensical principles, not regularly bathing or washing their mouths regularly. They will always remain unclean, and they will pluck out their hair. Following a concocted religion, they will flourish. During this age of Kali, people are more inclined to religious systems. Consequently, these people will naturally deride Vedic authority. The followers of Vedic authority, the Brahmanas, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the devotees. Open. Presently, the hippies in the Western countries fit this description. They are irresponsible and unregulated. They do not bath and they deride standard Vedic knowledge. They concoct new lifestyles and religions. There are many hippie groups at the present moment, but they all originated from King Arhat, who imitated the activities of Lord Rishabhadev, who was situated on the Paramahansa stage. King Arhat did not care for the fact that although Lord Rishabhadev acted like a madman, his stool and urine were nonetheless aromatic, so much so that they nicely scented the countryside for miles around. The followers of King Arhat went under the name Jains, and they were later followed by many others, particularly by the hippies, who are more or less offshoots of Mayavada philosophy because they think themselves the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such people do not respect the real followers of Vedic principles, the ideal Brahmanas, nor do they have respect for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Brahman. And due to the influence of this age of Kali, they are apt to concoct false religious.
Reading from the episode of Sukadeva Goswami narrates the detailed fasting. Rishabhadeva created as the son of Nadi and Nirvi. In Nadi and Nirvi, he conducted a great sacrifice, desired that the son, who is as well as the Supreme Lord. Right? The Supreme Lord appeared in the sacrifice. The Lord said, there is no endless. So I personally become your I will personally become yours. So that's the context of the appearance of Lord Shambhadev. So to fulfill the desire of this daily the Lord gave after the root became very efficient and exemplary. However, Indra became very envious of her. He stopped her very greedy. Indra is a lot of rains this of the people in the actual planet. Somehow they engaged in the did not shower rain to the kingdom. By his own mystic or Lord Shakespeare has created so so Indra became anything. Lord Shakespeare is 3% God. He created something with the mystic power of Lord Shakespeare. Rain fell the kingdom of the absolutely no effort. That moment we have some talent, we want to show the talent. When someone outsmart us in exhibiting talent, Indra became very Indra became very impressed. He offered a wonderful lady named Jayan, and Shubhadeva married. And Shubhadeva had one that's Shubhadeva is a Kshatriya, and all his sons were Kshatriyas, but it was not. Only 10 of them became Kshatriyas. And the eldest of the 10 Kshatriyas, amongst the remaining 9, each one qualified Brahman. Only 9 remaining 9 people became Navayogis. They are beyond any Varna, beyond any caste. They are Brahmanas. So this is how the family of Radha is, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Chatur Varnyam Mayam. For Varnas are created with the Supreme Lord, not according to their birth, but according to their qualities. Guna Karma Vikna. So the Lord Rishabhadev ruled the kingdom for a while, and he started touring the world in a place called Vrindavan. The Lord traveled along with him. He started giving. He said that all of you are supposed to utilize it in a very effective manner, utilizing your time, not for gratification but for self-help. Nayan deho deham ajanulo तपो दिव्यम पुत्र कायेन एतेस्मात्रं हंसो नायं देहो देहं भाजाम योगी. Krishna said the human life is not meant for just gratification or just attending to one's bodily pleasure, but human life is meant for attaining self-realization. Eventually, he took the path of Avadhuta, practically of Ardhavarshi, and the remaining 9 Kshatriyas followed the and 81 people they became Brahmins. 9 of them became Navyaginas, and the father of all 100 sons, Rishabhadev, he started taking the role of an Avadhuta, who is not bound by any rules or regulations or protocols or policies. He's on his own. So he's just moving around, and eventually he gave up his incarnation or he concluded his fast. He went to Supreme Court. But the Lord is exhibiting, demonstrating a nature which is filled with detachment. The way the yogi has to give up his body is not any hit, heat to the body has to rise above bodily pleasures and bodily needs and be totally detached, give up one's body. That's what a yogi is. However, in proper clarifies that you don't have to follow this uh, behavior of Rishabh and sadhana, sadhana, sadhana. Our responsibility is to follow teachings of Lord Krishna in the previous chapter and not the behavior of Lord Krishna in the sixth chapter. So this passion is described in fourth chapter. Fourth canto describes his rule. Canto describes his fourth chapter describes his rule, and fifth chapter of the canto describes. Sixth chapter describes his behavior as an avadut. That is not meant. Everything that is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam is not meant for us to follow. The conclusion, the essence of the essential message is definitely meant for us to follow. But Prabhupada very clearly says that this chapter that describes Vishubhadev's behavior as an avadut, for us to imitate, you don't have to become avadut. One without any external consideration. But it's necessary that devotees follow it, but there are some people that follow it. They did not follow the teachings of God, but they just followed behavior of them. They are cutting out their hairs and they were uh, not being very clean. As an avadut, Rishabdev may not take 50 baths in a day or do some java and this and that. People headed by King Arhat, they followed this kind of behavior, avadut behavior of traditional. But discourages that. They follow the teachings of what were the teachings of traditional in the previous chapter? Place is actively to cultivate spiritual knowledge, follow the process and realize what God Vasudeva, be respectful to Brahmanas and everyone. These are the teachings. Don't be caught up in such gratification. Boom, samsriya. These are the teachings and let's follow them. But there are some people who are proposed presented as countries with this system. They're irresponsible and unregulated. They do not wait, they deride and so don't deride Vedic knowledge because it's coming there. Vedaisya sarvair ahameva vedyo. All the Vedas are compiled with the law. The Vedic knowledge is given to us by Supreme Lord of His causeless compassion. By studying the Vedanta, we know that. So let's follow the standard of regulation. Here, people who are following or imitating Saraswati, headed by King Arhat, they are not following the Vedic culture. They are not taking baths. They are irregulated, unregulated, irresponsible. Proposals. And Sukhdev Goswami also says they don't wash their mouths regularly. They'll remain unclean. They will pluck out their teeth. They follow a concocted religion. During this age of Kali, people are more inclined to religious. So in Kali Yuga, people are not very advanced in their knowledge, alien habits. There is a sloka, the first kind of Bhagavad. प्रायेण विपायित सभ्या कलावनिकेतना मंद सुमंद मदयो मंद भाग्या प्रायेण अल्पायुष people who take birth in Kali Yuga, they're short lived. They don't have a long life. The previous years, people used to live for hundreds and thousands of years. Here in Kali Yuga, people would live hardly for 100 years. That also is very, very rare. Maximum 100. And as Kali Yuga progresses, Prabhupada says that even a 20-year-old person, grand old man. That's the style of Kali Yuga people, right? So short-lived. Prayen alpayushu sabhe kalavasmin yuge janaha manda sumanda matayoho. They are not very intelligent and they are also guided by people who are not so intelligent. Manda bhagya, they are less fortunate. Upadritaha, this is the nature of Kali Yuga people. Although Kali Yuga is filled with so many such unwanted qualities and shortcomings and disqualifications, there is one good thing in Kali Yuga. कलेर दोष निधे राजन अस्ति ह्येको महान गुणः कीर्तनादेव कृष्णस्य मुक्त संगः परम व्रजेत. Although Kali Yuga is an ocean of faults, there is one good quality. Kaler dosha nidhe rajan. Dosha means faults. Nidhi means a treasure. Kali Yuga is a place of faults, an ocean of faults. Still, asti heko mahan gunaha. There is one good quality. What is that? Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangaha param vrajet. Just by chanting the holy names of Lord Krishna, Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangaha param vrajet, we can easily be released from this material entanglement. So let us take shelter of the holy names of Krishna. When you say Krishna Kirtana, Kirtan is not just singing the holy names of Krishna in a musical style with some harmonium, kartal, mridanga. That is definitely Kirtan. But Kirtan has a broader meaning. Kirti means glory. Kirtana means to glorify. What to glorify? Not only glorifying the name of the Lord, glorifying the form of the Lord, glorifying the qualities of the Lord, glorifying the pastimes of the Lord. Kirtan is a very broad term that emphasizes on the importance of glorifying Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. All. So Kirtanadeva Krishnasya means chanting the holy names of Krishna, definitely. It also means glorifying the pastimes and qualities and forms of Krishna. When we are discussing Srimad Bhagavatam and discussing the pastimes of the Lord in various incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Vamana, Narasimha, Rama, Parashurama, Rishabhadev, they are basically doing Kirtan. This is Krishna Kirtan. Kirtan is definitely singing, but Kirtan also means glorifying Krishna. Not just name, form, pastimes, and qualities also. And by doing so sincerely, we will definitely rise above the faults of Kali Yuga and we will come to a stage where we transcend the modes of material existence and enter the kingdom of the Lord. There is another good quality in Kali Yuga also. There are so many good qualities in Kali Yuga. One is the foremost of all these good qualities is definitely chanting the holy names of the Lord and going back to Godhead with the power of that chanting. But there is another good quality highlighted in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the previous yugas, when people used to think bad about someone or have any bad thought, they will be penalized for their bad thoughts. But as far as good thoughts are concerned, they are not rewarded for good thoughts. They will be rewarded only when they actually perform good deeds. But in Kali Yuga, even if you have a good thought, you will be rewarded for that good thought. But if you have a bad thought, you will not be penalized unless you actually do it. Why such a concession is given in Kali Yuga? Just a bad thought crosses your mind in the previous ages, then you will be penalized for it. You think of harming someone, you have never harmed anybody, but you just thought of harming someone, you'll get a reaction, simple reaction. We have to be highly controlled. Our minds must be controlled in the previous yugas.
But because Kali Yuga people are always disturbed, they don't have so much of sense control or mind control or self control. Therefore, some kind of concession is given to them. These people cannot control their minds. Let's not penalize them or punish them for their bad thoughts. So some concession is given to us. That's another good aspect of Kali Yuga. But there is one more good quality of Kali Yuga. What is that? The Supreme Lord appears in this Kali Yuga also not as the Supreme Lord, but as a devotee of the Supreme Lord. He is the Supreme Lord, but he acts as a devotee. Just like a teacher may teach alphabet to a child, to a small student who just came to the school. How does the teacher teach? The teacher may take the hand of the child in his or her own hand and then make the child write. The teacher will also pronounce the alphabet A, B, C, D like that. The teacher need not pronounce A, B, C, D. Teacher need not write A, B, C, D because teacher already knew all this. The teacher not only knows alphabet, the teacher also knows sentences, words, everything. But still, the teacher does all these things just to teach the child, teach the student. Similarly, the Supreme Lord himself plays the role of a devotee and he starts chanting the holy names of Krishna. Krishna taught in the Bhagavad Gita, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. He said, always chant my holy names. The Lord spoke, but people have not taken it very seriously. And he also said, Yajnanam Japa Yajnosmi. Of all the kinds of yajnas or sacrifices, I am the sacrifice of chanting the names of the Lord. Although Krishna emphasized the importance of chanting his holy names in the 9th and 10th chapters of Bhagavad Gita, still people have not taken him very seriously. Krishna waited for 4,500 years. Then finally he thought, let me personally go and do Satatam Kirtayantomam Yajnanam Japayajnasmi. Let me personally demonstrate the process of chanting the names of the Lord and teach these people how to chant the names. Thus, the Supreme Lord Krishna descended in the form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he started chanting. Right? So Kali Yuga, people are very fortunate to have the Supreme Lord Krishna personally appear as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and chant the holy names of Krishna personally and teach us how to chant. That's a great advantage. So in the Kali Yuga, although it's filled with so many faults, so many people not following good habits and all, still there are some great advantages in Kali Yuga, where the process of self-realization is made very easy, and that process of self-realization is personally taught by the Lord, who appears in the form of a devotee, that is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What else we can expect? The Kali Yuga people are very fortunate. They're unfortunate from 100 different ways, but they're very fortunate considering this way. Very, very effective method. कृते यध्यायतो विष्णुं त्रेतायां यजतो मखैः द्वापरे परिचर्यायां कलौ तद्धरिकीर्तनात्. कृते यध्यायतो विष्णुः. In Krita Yuga or Satya Yuga, the process of self-realization is to meditate for hundreds and thousands of years like this. They had so much of self-control. They can do that. But Kali Yuga people cannot do it. Tretayam yajito makhaihi. In the Treta Yuga, the process of self-realization is to do yajna, is to perform different sacrifices, elaborate sacrifices. That is also not practical for Kali Yuga people. Dvapare paricharyayam. In the Dvapara Yuga, people used to perform elaborate deity worship. But Kalautad Hari Kirtanat, what you attain by meditating in the Satya Yuga, what you attain by doing sacrifices in Treta Yuga, what you attain by worshipping in the Dvapara Yuga, you can easily attain by chanting the holy names of Krishna in the Kali Yuga. That's the process of self-realization, and that is made very, very, very easy. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Harer Nama, Harer Nama, Harer Nama Iva Kevalam, Kalau Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyatha. The process of self-realization in Kali Yuga is to just chant the names of Lord Hari. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. Only Harinam, 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 Harinam. So chanting the names of the Lord is very, very easy. And Kali Yuga people are blessed with that great fortune. Of course, if you chant the holy names of Krishna even in the previous ages, you will definitely go back to Godhead. It's not that chanting the holy names of Lord Hari is effective only in the Kali Yuga and it would not be effective in the previous ages. It is effective in all ages, at all times. However, it's especially recommended for Kali Yuga people because they are not qualified or they are not capable of doing anything else. They are more desperate. Their condition is more fragile because they have no ability to do anything else other than chanting the holy names of the Lord. Meditation, how long can they meditate? If they close their eyes and start meditating, instead of meditating on the Lord or Lord's form, so many other forms will manifest in the mind. They'll meditate on many other forms. Or after some time they'll doze off. But when a Satyuga person closes his eyes, he will open the eyes only after 1,000 years or 10,000 years. And he's not sleeping. He's not getting distracted at all. They had such intense self-control, mind control. They're intellectually strong. They are physically strong. They're mentally strong. They have no distractions or deviations in the mind. They have complete focus and concentration. But Kali Yuga people lack that. And in fact, there's more advantage for Kali Yuga people because they are so desperate, they cannot do anything else. They are more desperately dependent on the holy name. But in the previous ages, people, because they have more self-control, sense control, and control of their mind, they feel that chanting the holy name of Krishna is such a simple method. Are, can we really go back to Godhead by just chanting one mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So in this one mantra, only 3 words are spoken repeatedly, Hare, Krishna and Ram. It seems too simplistic. The people of previous ages feel overqualified. we can chant mantras which are 10 kilometers long. A mantra means it has to be like we need to take 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 1 hour to recite a mantra. But here, like in 5 seconds, you are reciting this mantra, and the mantra is not very complicated, very easy mantra. They feel that it's below their capacity or below their dignity, not dignity, below their power or capacity to meditate. So they feel that Shravanam Kirtanam, especially this chanting the holy names of the Lord, is very simplistic. And for them to get in self-realization, they feel that they need something more elaborate process. We need a more elaborate process. This is like too simplistic. They feel like that. But Kali Yuga people find that even chanting 60 notes is a big project for them. Therefore, they are more desperate to depend on the holy name. But people in the previous yugas, they are not that desperate to depend on the holy name. Not just that. There is another reason also. In the previous ages, people had very clean atmosphere. They had food which is very clean, healthy. The atmosphere is not so polluted like the atmosphere in Kali Yuga. The people's minds are not so corrupted like the minds of people in Kali Yuga. Their habits, their value systems, their thought process is not as degraded as people of Kali Yuga. Thus, people don't feel that this material world is miserable. In the previous ages, people feel that this material world is also fine. It's not a problem. I can live for 1,000 years. I can live for 10,000 years here. No problem. Absolutely no problem. They don't feel the desperateness to get out of this material world and enter the spiritual world. But in Kali Yuga, the living conditions are so terrible. The people's capacity to understand philosophy is very meager. In Kali Yuga, people's intellectual strength and mental strength, it's very poor. The seasons are very fierce in Kali Yuga. There's ativrishti, there's anavrishti, means there is like too much of rainfall, sometimes there's no rainfall. Or in Kali Yuga, there is drought, there is famine. It used to happen in the previous ages also, but very, very rarely. But in Kali Yuga, it's more frequent, right? So the desperateness to get out of this material world is felt more by a Kali Yuga person than people of the previous ages. Thus, taking birth in Kali Yuga is a great advantage, where we can be detached from this material world more easily. We can realize that this material world is dukkhalayam and ashashvatam in Kali Yuga more than in the previous Yuga. In the previous Yugas, people cannot realize this statement made by Krishna, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Oh, this world is dukkhalayam. There's a lot of sukha here. Ashashvatam. Ashashvatam. They're living for 1 lakh years or 10,000 years. What is ashashvatam? 1 lakh years is a very long time, right? The people had the capacity to have 60,000 sons or 10,000 sons. Daksha had 10,000 sons in one go. And Sagara Maharaj had 60,000 sons. In the previous years, people had so much of capacity, and other people were very cooperative, very obedient, very truthful, very respectful. People's dealings are very refined in those days. But in Kali Yuga, many people cheat others. Thus, from the perspective of relationships or physical
Facebook
security,
जॉब करो मैं
previous
खत्म कर
ages, people of previous ages used to feel more secure and more fulfilled in their relations or in their facilities, in their happiness compared to Kali Yuga people. But Kali Yuga people, there's no security in relationships in this world, in Kali Yuga. And there is no physical security. The living conditions are very poor. Therefore, we feel more desperate to get out of this material world. And for such a person who is extremely desperate to get out of the material world and enter spiritual world, a very, very easy and simplified process is given. Chant the holy names of Krishna, you will go back to Godhead. Oh, wow. That's a boon. It's very sweet process. Very, very simplified and very, very sweet. Holy name is very sweet. Madhura madhura metan mangalam mangalana sakala nigamavalli satpalam chittarupam sakridapi parigitam shraddhaya helayava bhruguvara naramatam tarayet Krishna nama. Madhura madhura metan means the holy name of Krishna is very, very sweet. Mangalam Mangalana means of all the auspicious things, the holy name of Krishna is most auspicious. Sakala Nigamavalli Satkalam Chittarupam means if you compare all the Vedic literatures to a creeper, the holy name of Krishna is the mature fruit of that creeper. Sakridapi parigitam shraddhaya helayava Guruguvara naramatram tarayet Krishna nama. If you chant the name of Krishna even once, either with faith, deep faith, or even casually or neglectfully, still the holy name of Krishna will only benefit us. Thus, Kali Yuga people are very fortunate from this perspective. They got a very, very easy method of self-realization, and they have the opportunity of personally witnessing Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally appearing in the form of a devotee and teaching us how to perform devotional service. That privilege people in the previous ages did not have. Of course, they had many other privileges, but this is special. The Lord appearing in the form of a devotee and simplifying the process of going back to Godhead. So, today's sloka and purport describes so many flaws in the personalities of people of Kali Yuga. But there is an advantage also, Bhagavatam describes. So we should deal with those shortcomings and faults of Kali Yuga people but we should also take advantage of the simplified process of bhakti in Kali Yuga and perfect our life. These are a few thoughts. I'll conclude here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments? Any questions from this device? No, this one. You are saying people, I'm telling this device. Zoom.
Hare Krishna devotees online. If there's any questions, can you please unmute yourself and feel free to ask? Prabhuji is asking. Thank you.
Hey, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the nice class. I just want to know how is that Jainism that's sort of against Vedic system? How became prominent like a few centuries back? Was there there was no one to debate and put them down?
I didn't understand.
Jainism. How is Jainism against Vedic?
I don't know much about it. Prabhupada mentions it. Apart from this purport, I don't know much about that. Anything else? Yes, Prabhupada.
When you mentioned that behavior should be in a line, like the teachings of Lord Rishabdev and his behavior, should be in a line, So why there's a need to bewilder the general public, by like walking like a naked man and with disheveled hair and stone on the mouth, right? Illusionary energy is already doing that, right? Bewildering the general public. Why the Lord has to do the same?
Yes. Sometimes the Lord adopts a behavior which is unconventional, which may seem totally against the Vedic culture also sometimes. What to speak of Rishabhadev? When Lord Buddha appeared, he even rejected the Vedas. Right? You know that? Buddha rejected the Vedas. So how is it justified? The answer is simple. Those who are very faithful, those who recognize the Lord, even though the Lord appears in such unconventional forms, they will never be bewildered. Just like Prabhupada gives this example. A dog is the master sometimes in very royal attire and sometimes in a very casual attire, sometimes dressed as a king or dressed as a beggar, whatever, the dog recognizes the master. Similarly, devotees are not bewildered even though the Lord exhibits some kind of unconventional behavior. They keep faith in the Lord. But those who are not faithful enough, they misunderstand the Lord, and that creating such a misunderstanding or bewilderment kind of filters unqualified people. So Bhakti Yoga is spread very widely. Definitely, it is supposed to be spread very widely, but Bhakti Yoga's confidentiality also has to be maintained. Bhagavatam ensures that the confidentiality of Bhakti Yoga is maintained in various ways. For example, Rishabhdev's son, Bharat Maharaj, you will see in the next chapter, he is conducting so many Vedic sacrifices, apparently karmakandic sacrifices, in which worship of so many devatas is also mentioned. Why is he doing so? He is a pure devotee. He can do Shravanam Kirtanam, right? Why he has to perform elaborate fire sacrifices? He can just do, hear the holy names of the Lord, chant the holy names of the Lord. He is a pure devotee, definitely. But not everyone is qualified to come to the standard of bhakti, pure devotion, selfless devotion to the Lord. Ahituki apratihata yagatma suprasidati is not possible for everybody. For them, okay, karma kanda is sufficient, or they are more eligible to perform karma kanda and they are not yet ready for bhakti yoga. So when a leader like Bharat Maharaj performs some karmakandic sacrifices, common people will follow that. If the leader is following Shravanam Kirtanam, common people cannot follow anyways. At least let me follow something which has some connection with the Vedic culture. Let me bring them closer to Vedic culture. Otherwise, they'll become totally atheist. That's why great personalities, whether it's a Lord or even common people, common devotees, they kind of tone down very, very high standard of spirituality to to some kind of relatable and actionable method for people who are not yet qualified for pure. Right? So coming to Rishabhadev's example, he demonstrated this behavior of Avadhut mainly to inspire some yogis. Yogis, don't be attached to the body, give up your body in this way. You need to give up your body in this style. Means you should be totally detached from any bodily pleasures or any material attachments, and just carefree, just give up give up your body. So he just, and also by following some yogic process, you will also get some mystic powers. Rishabhdev rejected the mystic powers also. You will find in the previous slokas. He rejected mystic powers. So a yogi should not be attached to mystic powers. So he is setting an example for yogis who were very prevalent in those days. But in Kali Yuga, such yogis are very less. Hardly any yogi. There are few you may find here and there, but most of them are materialistic people. Therefore, Prabhupada says 5.6 is not meant for us. Acharya is clarifying. So you don't have to imitate Rishabhadev. Now, apparently, Rishabhadev's activities are seemingly bewildering to people. They are bewildering to us, but they are very common for some yogis or many yogis in those days, at that time. So, and also, Rishabhadev's teachings are relevant now. 5.5. We were discussing before you arrived, I don't remember. The 5th canto, 5th chapter, Rishabhadev's teachings are more relevant for us than his behavior as an Avadhut. It seems bewildering. Those who get bewildered, they are not yet qualified for Bhakti Yoga. That's fine. Let them be in that boundary. Once they develop that faith, they will come inside. If they don't have that faith, okay, they will remain there. Bhakti Yoga confidentiality has to be maintained while spreading Bhakti Yoga. Does it make sense? Mataji had some question. You had a question. Hmm? Yeah, even in the past yugas also, if people had chanted the holy names of the Lord, they would have gone back to Godhead. Ajamil chanted Narayana, Narayana, and then eventually he went back to God. The holy name is effective in all ages, but Kalika people can depend on the holy name more desperately. Rishabhadev and Kapila and Rishabhadev. Okay. Rishabhadev primarily focuses on importance of human life and fasting from sense gratification. Stay away from sense gratification, focus more on the path of self-realization. And Rishabhadev's teachings are very crisp. Only one chapter. That too, hardly you will find some 28, 30 slokas. But Kapila's teachings are very elaborate. 8 chapters. 3rd canto, 25th chapter till 32nd chapter. And Kapila very elaborately describes the process of jnana and yoga. 25th chapter he describes bhakti primarily. 3rd canto, 25th chapter, he describes bhakti elaborately. And 26th and 27th chapters he elaborates on jnana process, Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya or jnana, both are same. Then in the 28th chapter he describes Ashtanga Yoga. And then in the 29th chapter, he will again come back to Bhakti Yoga and describes it more elaborately. Then in 30, 31, 32, he describes different other paths in the Vedic landscape, including karma and little bit of jnana and all those things. And samsriti, the process of repeated cycle of birth and death. So there's Kapila's teachings are more elaborate. There he does a comparative analysis of karma path, jnana path, yoga path, and bhakti path, and establishes bhakti as supreme. But Rishabhadev doesn't do so much of comparative analysis. He emphasizes on the importance of raising above sense gratification and utilizing human form of life to perform bhakti. So his teachings are very crisp and simple. Not simple, they are complex also, but at the same time, they are very brief. Right? He speaks only two things: no sense gratification, only self-realization. But the self-realization can be done in multiple modes. That Kapil Dev says. Self-realization can be attained in multiple ways, and the best of all the ways is bhakti yoga. Hare Krishna.
Very good. I'll try to formulate the question. I'll try to formulate the question clearly. You mentioned about the faith and also about the security, security in material world. And I am considering your background that you are very highly educated from esteemed university, but then you chose this path, and I see that faith helps. Like I took this path, and a lot of people take this path of bhakti. At some stage, faith helps them to reject a lot of other distractions, you can say. Now, could you just help me understand that how to increase that faith when we are in anartha nivritti stage, and anarthas keep coming up, and you're like, and time is limited. You have to choose this activity and that and bhakti activity. But because of the onslaught of anarthas, we become weak to make that choice that this is actually the real security, not the security of your karmic activities.
Faith is a product of the mercy of great soul. Faith is a product of our sincere service to great soul. In the first canto of Bhagavatam, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur gives a beautiful commentary to the second chapter. Satam Kripa Mahat Seva will lead to Shraddha. Shraddha means faith in the path of bhakti. To develop even a grain of faith, we need two things. One is Satam Kripa, mercy of great souls, devotees. Second is Mahat Seva, means you render some little seva to them, and they are pleased with that seva. Their pleasure will bestow some faith upon us. Even he also, Rishabhadev says in this previous chapter, Mahat Sevan Dvaram Ahur Muktehe Tamodvaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam. Mahat Seva means rendering some little seva to Mahats. Mahat means great devotees. When we serve great devotees, that service will bestow that faith and eventually opens doors for liberation. So when we are blessed by saintly personalities, we will develop that faith. And to receive the blessings from them, we need to do something. Apart from that, by studying the scriptures, we will develop faith. When we go through the pastimes like Gajendra's pastime is, reading Gajendra's pastime is like a faith building exercise. Reading the pastime of Draupadi Mata, saved by Lord Krishna, when Dushasana was trying to disrobe her, that induces so much faith. See this picture. Krishna is lifting Govardhan mountain and protecting all the Vrajavasis. Vrajavasis had absolutely no possibility of survival, in one sense, amidst that devastating rainfall created by Indra. But all of them took shelter of Krishna, and Krishna just effortlessly lifted Govardhan mountain and protected them for 7 days and 7 nights. So hearing Srimad Bhagavatam will increase our faith in Krishna's protection. We'll become more Ashabandha, means we'll become more hopeful of Krishna's protection. And many other pastimes, they all build our faith. They help us come closer to Krishna. And when you associate with faithful devotees, for example, recently we celebrated Narasimha Chaturdasi, and how much faith did Prahlad Maharaj have? His own father is trying to kill him in 100 different ways, but Prahlad Maharaj is always faithful. The Lord will protect me. How much faith? So, faith comes by serving devotees, blessings of devotees, studying the pastimes of so many great devotees as described in the Shastras, and understanding the Krishna conscious philosophy that eventually build our faith. And as we are progressing to the higher and higher stages of bhakti, the lower stages are getting broadened. So when you come to Anartha Nivritti stage, your faith has become a little expanded. When you cross Anartha Nivritti, go to Nishtha, then Asakti, Ruchi and all, your faith will become more and more wider. You begin with a little faith, Shraddha, and we go to the stage of Sadhu Sangha. At the stage of Sadhu Sangha, our faith will increase a little more. Then you come to Bhajana Kriya, the faith will increase even more. It's like a growing pyramid. Thank you very much. We conclude here. Vinithara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yes, Gauranga Darshan Prabhuji ki jai.
Hallelujah, Shri Muraya. Eko Mahamuna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Shanga Param Raje